Hello everyone, got a bit of a special video for you today. I got asked a question, I think about a week ago. How do I handle survivors that do generators extremely quickly, or like they try to bully you in some sort of way, like they're just messing with you the whole game or something of that sort, or how do I stay calm when I go up against bully gangs? As you can see right here, we have 3 Megs and a Dwight, so I'm guessing the 3 Megs are in SWF. And the Dwight probably isn't a part of their group. So I kind of already knew going into this match kind of what their plan was. I had an idea that they were planning on possibly bullying me to some extent. But it's rank reset, so I knew they were either going to be really good because they were already at rank 1 for a while and they've ranked up pretty quickly, or they're going to be really bad. Either way though, it doesn't take too much skill to hold R1 and get generators done very quickly. Now with this group, they did get gens done fairly quickly. And when they have 3 or 4 flashlights, that's not nearly as bad as, let's say, like 4 toolboxes or 4 medkits or anything like that. If you see 3 or 4 flashlights, don't be too alarmed. If you're that worried about it, with Michael, a really good perk against it would be Infectious Fright. Infectious Fright is really good when you're facing up against SWFs when they have lots of flashlights, because they're going to be wanting to go for lots of saves and stuff like that. So that's why that's real good, especially when you're in tier 3. Once you're in tier 3 and if you knock someone down, if they happen to be close together, which they usually are because they want to be altruistic and they want to like save each other and stuff like that. So tier 3 is usually really good against that with Infectious Fright, because the one thing you don't want to do against Michael is be grouped up, and altruistic survivors tend to do that. So tier 3 is going to be your best friend when you're going up against altruistic survivors or basically bully gangs or anything like that. Now, as you can tell though, I don't have Infectious Fright. I have Play With Your Food and Save the Best for Last. Now, I really like these two combinations because once you have a few Save the Best for Last stacks, you don't even need all 8. And you have even like 1 or 2 stacks, usually like 2 stacks to Play With Your Food. You can get a train going really quickly. So you down one person with tier 3, and you usually have enough situational awareness to know like to go after someone else or not. And with that increased speed and the faster cooldown on your weapon, you're right on somebody. It's very useful, in my opinion. Play With Your Food is definitely a more complicated perk to use though, so I don't recommend it for everyone. If you don't feel comfortable with Play With Your Food, I would use Infectious Fright. If you don't feel comfortable using, or if you want Play With Your Food, you could always switch out Save the Best for Last with Infectious Fright. Both are fantastic on Michael. So I see them working on this gen over here, and I know someone's above me too. Now he's smart and he's trying to avoid me. He eventually learns that he can't. Now this girl isn't the brightest. She eventually decides to feed me, and she's staying really close to me and giving me a lot early on. Yeah, you should not be doing this against Michael. So they obviously feel really confident, and they're very cocky in their abilities, and they're on multiple gens. They're splitting up pressure very well. I find my obsession first. Now, you have to know when to go with plated food stacks and when not to. I was actually intending to go for her down, but I lost her because I'm a ding dong. I actually thought this was her going back up here. It wasn't. It was still this white coat Meg. So she's already way over there. I didn't even hear her drop, so I'm pretty sure she has balanced landing. Like I said, I thought she was the obsession for some reason. I don't know why, even though it was clearly red jacket Meg, so I was trying to get a stack there. Didn't work out. Now I have tier 3 procced and ready to go. Sprint burst. Check to see if anyone's hiding behind it. I struggle to get down. Now, I don't know what she was doing exactly, because she clearly had sprint burst, I'm pretty sure. Now I hear someone still working on the gen above me. And then I heard someone fall. So I knew it was this girl over here. With my tier 3, the reason why I go for this chase is she's slugged, and I want it, and she seems to be running to a bit of an unsafe area, and I want her to drop a pallet of some kind, and I want to try, yeah. She played that smart. She played that smart. These guys weren't awful by any means. I already got her to drop the pallet. At this point, I'm just getting greedy. Poor play by me. I should have just had her drop the pallet, and then I should have went directly back. You don't want to spend too much time on them. I thought he was just going to try and drop the pallet. So Dwight, at this point, I see the play he just did there, and I immediately see he's a weaker player. I knew he'd fall for that. Got 2 downs with tier 3. Good start. I saw someone hiding over here. Acts like I'm going to pick her up, and then I do, because I know she's behind me and she won't have enough time to get that. Pretty sure flashlights are still bugged, and that's why the blind is so fast. I don't remember. They might have had purple flashlights too. I'm not entirely sure. So slugging is going to be your best friend and tier 3, like I mentioned before. And now I have increased movement speed as well. Of course, I kind of felt that they were instantly going to go for the save, because once again, they're very altruistic. They're very SWF. They're very much so an SWF, very obvious. Except the Dwight. The Dwight definitely seems a little weaker. And if you ever see a weaker link, always abuse it. Always abuse it. I hear the Dwight to my right, go down. Nice. Hear the Meg fall. I missed it like a potato. That's okay. And now I have increased movement speed, and that's why I took this, even though they're shack pallet, because I knew they wouldn't be able to make it in time. They're all behind me. Really bad against Michael once again. Slow vaulting. Once again, we just want to get a pallet out of her. See if maybe we can get a hit. Darn. Oh well. You don't want to give these guys too much attention. You need to multitask. She's not doing any gens, so who cares? This I didn't mean to do that, but dedicated servers, if you don't know how it works, is it doesn't proper, like, how do I say this? Correct itself when you're stalking. When you stalk from up close, you stalk faster, and when you stalk from farther away, it's slower, but the game doesn't recognize this in dedicated servers. I mean, it does recognize it, it just doesn't tell you, so the meter is inaccurate. So if a survivor starts far away, and you start the stalk. I was trying to bait it, but head on is head on. Anyways. So if they start off farther, it'll appear as if it's getting slower, but if they get closer, it'll actually be a lot farther than it appears. Now, she really messed up. She really messed up. She wanted to make a fool of me, but she just hurt herself. Which is another thing, if that these types of survivors tend to do a lot. Now, I took a risk here with the Dwight. I knew he was a weaker link. And I decided if he had DS, okay, fine, DS. I get to play with your food stack, and I still have someone in the basement, so it wouldn't be too much of a loss. And if you do get 2 in the basement, that's almost basically a GG. That's pack your bags. It's as long as you play it correctly, it's basically a win. Now this girl made another big mistake, like these kind of bullies tend to do, or at least try to bully, whatever you want to put it. She made a mistake, and then she wasted the God pallet, which was perfect for me. Now this was a bit of a waste. It definitely was a waste. I was hoping I'd be able to tier 3 and then catch the healthy girl. A shame. Shouldn't have popped it there, but that's okay. But we have everyone distracted and running around and not doing generators. And you always have to remember that with lots of flashlights, they tend not to actually be in gens. Now I didn't see a 4th person, and there she is. We got her this time. However, if they do gen rush, like if they just strictly stay on gens, like these guys are definitely not bad at gens. But if they do bring 4 toolboxes and they're letting people die for generators, then you have to recognize that they're letting people die for generators and leave the guy on the hook. And start pressuring them, and start slugging, start forcing other people off of gens. Because if there's 2 people on the ground, there's only one, then only 2 people can be doing gens at that time, and the other people are just gonna bleed out. So most survivors are going to make the decision to get off the generator and go heal their teammates. So that's usually what you're going to want to do. If they decide to keep pressuring gens. Not quite sure why she was down here. I don't know why my thought... Did I hear something? At the time of me doing commentary, I didn't hear something through my headphones, so if I heard a locker or something while I was playing it, then that might have been why. Maybe I'm using hacks, I don't know. But always remember not to overcommit. If someone's teabagging, if they're BMing, don't give them attention. If they want to keep doing that, that's great. They're not doing gens. Who cares? Gens is the only thing you have to worry about. We saw a bird fly over here. We hear someone injured, so we know it's not the obsession. Nice. We see the obsession running over here because we saw a bird fly. So we know she's around here. Might as well just kick the gen. Why not? And I've basically won. I have one person dead. This girl has to make a move, which she does. And I have both of the people on lockdown. What the survivor on the ground would have wanted to do was to crawl away. I tried to grab her, I potatoed it, but that's fine. Because I have saved the best for last, even though I'm hitting the obsession, I still recover quick enough to be able to get back on this girl. Thought I could hit that, maybe dedicate her. We hear the girl on the ground, doesn't matter, we have saved the best for last. She was hesitating, so I knew she would stick close to the pallet. And that is GG. So once again, they weren't awful looping, especially the girl in the white jacket. She knew her mind games. The other ones didn't quite get a chance to loop as much. I mean, we had a sprint burst gamer, but when you're in when you have Myers, even the best players, right? You have tier 3. Like, that's always an option to sneak up on someone in tier 3. There's not unless they have spine chill or something like that. But even then, if you have a feeling they have spine chill and you're going towards the gen you know they're on, you can always just look away and walk. I don't know why not a lot of people do that, but I've caught so many players off guard by just kind of looking in a slightly different direction and then heading over to the generator. And then by the time they get a spine chill notification, I'm already breathing down their neck. And then you just pop tier 3 and whack them, and you can't really loop against that. Which is, tier 3 is very good for bully groups like this. And they weren't all like BMing, it was really only this girl that really teabagged me towards the start. And they all had flashlights, and you kind of knew, yeah, her decisive ran out. DC'd. So yeah. Hopefully this was useful for all of you guys. Hopefully this kind of helps, and it even gives like a little bit of how I feel like you should play Myers. Like, I guess this is a little bit into my mind as to how I like to play Michael. At least against these kind of groups, of course. Different maps, different blah 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 blah. But you get the point. Hopefully this was useful. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you in the next one.